Test how I sound. Test how I sound. How about now? How about now? Maybe I can do full sound. Maybe I can do full sound. Alright, I think it works. Let me close this. Beginner's Guide. I have no idea what this game is. Though. Hold up. I gotta charge my phone. Little shite mic. Stream NA. Wait a minute. You have technology. I'm gonna. I have no idea what this game is. Okay, but we'll find out soon enough, won't we? Alright. Beginner's Guide. I have no idea who the fuck's watching this, but please make sure audio is on. Stop. Controls, WASD, and left click. Alright.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made.
Whoa.
It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, It's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
What the fuck? Half-Life? No.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Security hull breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin shield evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room. Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the Whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam.
That would kill me.
It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Can I leave? Guess not. Let's go.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
What? Whoa.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain, He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Oh, walk
Yep.
backwards.
In this game, you can only walk backwards. So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope. It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Dark. Is it rude though? Follow that. I'm gonna get off the path. And that's the end. Only forward. Danger zone.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Nonsense in all directions. So I'm gonna do the sensible thing and walk around this. This doesn't feel right.
I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
It doesn't look right. It's like the angles are just off. That path there just doesn't look. It's unsettling. Guess we go up the staircase.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself. A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games. Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person. but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Takes time to get there.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it. Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot. So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room. How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior, and then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Exiting.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Small looking house. Or just a normal sized house.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Whoa. Can I jump? Whoa, shit! fault. Why am I even bother? Just go ham all the way. Fuck me. Wait, no, shit. God damn it, I'm trapped. Well, I can't go any other direction.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't. It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
You there? Did you come from up above?
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
What was up there? Guess I did. Someone else let me in. Let myself in. I don't know. You don't want to go there. No, we find the black space between doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Why would it care between doors? I do feel strange. I felt pretty fucking weird. See it again soon. Space between doors.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
I just sipped and then finish. Oh, you need it? Good. Good.
What the hell am I? Courtyard snipers.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Evan, I'm not 100% sure what I'm playing right now. It's scary. It's like $3 on Steam, I think. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you can see left by other players. Dark Souls. What's this say? Nice room. Not. What a cunt.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy trying to get his attention. I was over enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
So to these fucking blurbs. Reasonable.
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
safe. Painting, what does it mean? Maybe this has issues.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
The future was always behind her. Porn star is dead.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Where's the couch? The music's getting louder. Oh. No, it's not. I'm in a club. Wait a minute. What was on the other side of that? The previous room. A well, some light, and a path to a well blocked off by bars. Odd. It's like the light post. Why a well? It's well to do. It's got a good beat. Because we climb up out of it.
See, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
I have 2 viewers. What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? Put a giant hole in the ground. Let's get out of here. That is not a giant hole, it's a table. Okay, now what about along the wall of the room? How about a picture of a horse? Doesn't really care. Take this room up a bit. Skylight. How about that? Let's open this baby up. Of course, a lamp. And a table. Yeah, I have a table. Who are you? Who exactly?
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
So this is what IKEA's like.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello. Please walk forward. Walk backward, thank you, asshole. Click on the table. Shit on your table. Photo frame, turn it slightly. Move it a little. Finally touch the shelves. That's it. In a real person, the escape will be open. Return to the start. Taken back to your person. What? Damn it.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Down with the light post again. Focal point. Important to Coda. But why? I don't get it. It's dark. It's a village. It's a maze. Hedge mage. Maze. Telephone booth? Looks like Auschwitz. Oh, door's open. Well, I mean, I guess. Oh, who's this? Hates me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. I was in the furniture maze.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
actually. Feels like being honest. Sometimes I get scared. Okay, now things will be exactly the same as before. No, I'm just really the same person now as I was back then. I haven't changed. Just not too bad. No, I'm the first person to call back. Maybe I can come find you. What to do? To get out, all you need to do is all you have to do is be sincere. To get out, you need to tell them. To get out, just talk with me for a bit. Be sincere. Just be sincere. You need in order to figure out how to escape. Exactly what you need.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Hope this guy bought his fucking boots.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Nice house. Oh. Why hello guy. Oh shit. I might be able to clean this entire house all myself, and right miserable that would be. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy homes. Don't worry about me.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
2 months. Don't worry about me. What next? Start playing Danny's. Could you please clear the table? Just from the bedroom and make the bed. You got it, boss. Where's the bedroom? Ah, here we go. Straighten out the rug a bit. Okay. All the details matter. Slow it down. You enjoy being house cleaner? I feel like I'm working. Oh, I feel which I guess is a mouse. So this guy, Coda, has OCD. He just makes these games to just busy his mind. Make it especially cheesy if you want to share an insight with me. That's what I'm all about. No. Come on. Who is this person?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Are all houses this easy to clean?
I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
I feel like Coda's dead. One's house is like someone's soul. You take care of it, it takes care of you. Or you take care of someone's soul. I guess there's some truth in that. Housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books. Just read the books. I feel like he just does all these things. He has all these ideas in his head, but just busies himself with these like activities.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Messy couch. Question.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
That house has no walls. Always back to the light.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it.
Items
This
you love,
one gets a bit
members,
goofy.
versus. Why did you come here today? Just to improve your life. Just to get a better job. Does this make your relationship meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. This workshop's gonna teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends to in your life to look at you and think, wow, this person's a better human being than I am. Right now, what do you think about your life? I'm grateful. Let me lower down the audio just a bit, 50%. Perfectionist within your grasp. The question is not how we do it, but how we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It's so easy. So easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Whoa. What's the key? How do I
And you
Achievement.
play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
On the way to work, I told the person to start contributing to society. Well, let me tell you right now. I still love you, it's just that you make me feel cold inside. Why are some of them in black and the other one is yellow? Being alone must be awful. If you're torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions for your life, you're not doing it right. Thank goodness all of you perceive me as being wise and intelligent. Seek out only one thing. What is the easiest, simplest path forward? Yo, do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Haha, just kidding. Do what is easiest. Do what is simplest, feel what is true. He wants me to hit the golden text, but I won't let him. Holy shit, you guys, something is coming out of the back of the room, look out. Everyone, it's coming for you, it's going to destroy you.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days. This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it
Sorry.
took him to make any other game before this. And it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Stage. But do I want to go on stage? No. I want to go to backstage. Climb up this ladder. Nope, can't. Just gotta love yourself, man. Oh. Well, I always did like approaching from the left side. Frack me. Jesus Christ. Places. This scene you'll be playing as me. We are gathering a gathering of professionals. First, you start at leaning against the wall. Good, stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something to her. Shit. Hello. That's it. What do you mean that's not a conversation? You need to actually converse. Be a human being. Hello is the start of a conversation. Hello, how are you? I'm super scared right now. I like you. You're cool sitting in that chair. No. You completely missed the tone of conversation. Maybe it's just in the field. A lot of people in this. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Talk to her again. I'll bet you learn to lean into the pain. What are some of the sacrifices you had to make? That quickly, do you not realize that the process for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this again. Everything was riding on this. Wait a minute, why don't I just go up and talk to her? Fuck this. shite. My backstage. Just go to the light. Frack. Something's not right there. Oh.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Mobius Trip. To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. You gotta be fun. Alright. No one else but me knows this, but I'm gonna close my eyes. I have no idea what's going on. I have lights I can't see. My eyes are closed. Nope. I don't hear footsteps. Okay, something's stopped? No.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
No, you're not blind. Oh, shite. Nope, we're gonna make. Wait a minute. Nope. Wait. We gotta find the switch. We gotta find the switch. Gotta go. Elevator. Got it. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Truth. I'm bursting with creative energy, boy. It isn't truthful. Alright, come on, give me the second option. Oh, shite, no, there isn't a second option. You do it, oh shit! Eject! Got it. Frack it, I'm going for it. Enough games. We go ham. I'm going out. Wait, that's just another elevator. Spike. I can't keep making these?
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
I'm alone. Who's we? Who's us?
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
December 2010. Where am I? does sound come from? Is anyone else here? Hey. Trees. Let's go talk to trees too. I have nothing left to give to my work. Oh no. What changed? There was a machine that kept me going and stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that used to keep protecting me. Let's start again. A crossroad. You always choose the right path.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
It's like a diary.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Tell me how to do it. First, you press the switch. First, you have to open the door. Then you have to close the first door. Now just press the switch here.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash. Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about, and I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Promise.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
2011. It's 2015 now. It's kind of crazy. Shit. There's a guard there. How am I gonna move on? Crouch. Let's fucking crouch this bad boy. Yeah, there we go. That stealth action. Fuck. It's waiting for you. We can begin interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing that you should know about the machine, it calls itself Coda. Press. Did you capture the machine? I wonder who's Coda.
And of course, it's the machine.
Just keep us alive. His mind. It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it together every day. Go to the people who loved it. And so on. Apologize for leaving me. Think carefully. I know how to hurt you. Suicide? Alright then, I'll apologize to the people on your behalf. All quiet. My friends. It falls on me to deliver bad news. I have had a troubling revelation. It falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine refuses to admit that it deliberately hurt us. It will not apologize to us. This is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us pay it retribution. Let us show it that we are not failures. Follow me, we will destroy the machine. Follow me, we will destroy the machine. Everything that the machine has created. Destroy the machine. Chairs. 360 no scope? Nope. Can I step off? No. Where's this fucking machine?
Remember, you can click to fire the gun.
Yeah, I know we can click to fire the gun, but I need a target. Who the hell am I gonna shoot? It's fucking here somewhere. Frack it. Coda, I'll make sure your work dies here. Coda, I'll make sure you Isn't this what you're scared about? Having to leave without your prescriptions, having to deal with yourself?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him?
But he gets bad feedback.
If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work? So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work.
Shit.
There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Put down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
The tower. Alright, let's play this like Rainbow Six Siege. Check my corners.
And And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game. This room actually has a maze in it.
Whoa.
Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible.
You
And
fucking
then every
cunt.
time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze. And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Siege. You have Siege, Evan? Yo, let's squad up, boy.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
151617.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side.
So I gotta reset
So
the game.
even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why.
Towers.
I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them.
You know, the thing about towers is that in a lot of like RPGs, towers, dungeons, they usually try to keep out adventurers in the vault that's inside that's trying to be hidden away. Sometimes it's just all the traps, all the dungeons, all the crazy things you have to do to try to repel the explorers. It's trying the creator's way of trying to say, don't go any further. Don't go into the vault. You might not like what you find. Maybe this was just Coda's way of just saying, hey man, it's gonna be okay, but just don't go any further into my life or whatever. Don't try to fix it. Just let it happen, let it burn. And I don't know, that's pretty fucked up.
I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
3 dots. This is like a very...
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left. And it felt somehow like I had failed.
This game's so out there, man. It's like
Where did I screw up?
like the architecture of like how this is laid out and like the color, like you feel like it's really cold. Thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you to not speak to me anymore. See, dude, I was right. Towers. That's just him to say back the fuck up. Dear Davy, thank you.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you to not speak to me anymore. Davy.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
I wonder at times whether you think I'm making these games for you. I just hit something? Where's that switch?
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
It infected my personal space. That it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere hidden between games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Would you stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes? Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating one boundary that keeps me safe. would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them. So he makes this giant game, this thing that was just put on Steam, the beginner's guide, and he just collages all his games. So I don't know. This creator for this game is kind of a big fuck you. I mean, this is like the antithesis of like what Coda didn't want. Now, like, it's like one of the top sellers on Steam. Not top sellers, but it's actually.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
What am I around you? When I am around you, I feel physically ill. You desperately need something, and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just part of the process. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine, you're not my problem to solve. Fractured paths. But I do hope that one day it clicks, and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I'm talking about, frack me. Don't say anything. I know if Coda was a girl.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Train stations. No time. Who knows when the train's gonna
Starting date and time settings.
More.
Oh my god.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
wonder if this Coda's work or is this the author's work?
Solution. 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 I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
Man. There's so many like fantasy games that are just like you have like these crazy dream sequences with these other worlds, like the Fade and like Dragon Age, or in The Witcher, like the painting world. But like in our like reality right now, it's kind of like these other distant worlds. We can dream them up by just the games we play. It's kind of crazy. Like this is like the most dream-like game I've ever played. It feels like a dream.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Sand. A beautiful house on the outside. A dilapidated interior on the inside. Stuck between spaces.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Is this just a prison cell with all the bars so high?
What now? I think I need to go.
Go where?
And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
Desert. These doors, I feel like I have to keep going through them. There's nothing binding me there. I just want to stay on the path. Nothing constricts me from going around, but for some reason I just go through the arch. Is this Coda's work? It's just broken desert. Why jump down a hole when I can drop down to a beach? Hop hop. Nah. $10 says there's nothing on the other end of that. Oh, shite. There's a female voice who did the voice for that power generator, and there's a female voice crying. Is that Coda? Is Coda actually a female? Girl? Woman? Thing? Bear? We don't know. Coda's just a pen name.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave, let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles, and you're so tired, but I know that you're strong.
Wife! Oh, shite.
So turn back,
God, I can't even count the much.
turn back.
That ends the beginner's guide.